What's good, bro?
How's it doing, man?
Not too bad, man. Just running around all day and shit, but we here. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Long time overdue. I remember being in contact with you for so long. Probably about, what, 2, 3 years maybe?
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't have an introduction for this podcast. I just kind of just wing it. I'm very indecisive when it comes to these things. But I do
Good.
go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation here with a very special guest.
Destruct was
No,
good.
no, don't worry about it. I like doing that. It throws people off sometimes. So, it's a
Yeah.
little weird.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly. Just be prepared at the end. I'm gonna probably do the same thing. But so I came across your music. Well, actually, you as a person in general, on the Tits and Taco show back with like Sammy Joe the Fox and Krista Ellis.
I remember, bro. Weren't you working behind the scenes, right?
Mm. Sorry about that. No, actually, I was like on a show maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to that.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was on the show doing like some like lip singing thing just for fun of it, and then I checked back in and watched that episode that you were on, and you're on there with like 4 or 5 other dudes like rapping and stuff, and
okay. Yeah, I remember, man. Shout out to Sammy and Crystal Ellis, man. The people's right there. I actually did the theme song for the when they had the Tits and Taco show. I actually did the theme song for the show.
oh no shit,
Yeah.
hey that's crazy, I didn't know
One of
that.
the favorite lines was "We've been real. Why you? We've been real. Why you think Be Real co-signed it or something like that?" I try to
Mm,
be like clever with the names and whatnot. So yeah.
yeah, I felt awkward too because after the episode I was on and me acting ridiculous in front of the camera, B real like saw the whole thing, and like he just kind of like smiled and like shook his head. And I'm like, ah shit, okay, well this is an awkward encounter. Yeah, but yeah, so that's how I came across the music. You even like kind of took initiative on the show because some of the people had like a little problem keeping up with the games. So you kind of like stated like, hey, like is it cool if we all just spit like a written that we have, and then like it kind of showed like leadership to me. So that's why I dig it a lot, man. And ever since then,
I appreciate it. Yeah, because I know heads were like kind of down. Even though it was written orientated, I still took the initiative as well to like throw some freestyle in it as well, just for the sake of the competition.
yeah, absolutely. And then what's it called? Yeah, so from there, I've been tuning in and such, and I just interviewed Faraz like a couple days ago or last
Uh,
week. Yeah,
that's my people's right there for sure.
yeah. So how did that song hold up come together?
Well, Hold Up is her track. We did a single called Do the Same, like about a year ago, which the video is coming out soon, and then we have
Mm.
another one called Focus that should be dropping as well. So we got like two dope videos dropping back to back, and I mean, any day now, within the next month or two, is be both dropping soon, and I'm really excited. Well, they're both on some like, well, Do the Same that's already out now was on some smoother, I would say like borderline R&B, hip hop, and then Focus is a little bit more upbeat and more kind of like a boom bap feel to it. So they're both pretty diverse. Faraz is very talented and she's super sick with it, and the songs just kind of really came natural.
Yeah, absolutely. That you guys together as a duo on a song is like pretty crazy. Same with you and Sylvan Gold. We'll touch on that a little later, but I do want to try to get everybody to kind of know a little bit where you came from, like where your origins lie and all that.
For sure, man. Well, I mean, mom's from Brazil, my dad's from Chile, so I've always had a pretty diverse background when it came to just my sound and inspiration. I was born in East LA, then I was raised in West LA, and kind of migrated all over LA before I started, transitioning to the San Fernando Valley in the A1A. So just that alone kind of gave me so many different perspectives in regards to just city life and being on more of a urban terrain than a rural one. So kind of before hip hop even came to my life, it was mostly like samba, bossa nova, jazz, like soft rock, hard rock, and a lot of it was infused from my Brazilian background and culture as well, more than my Chilean, because I was raised mostly by my mom. My folks split when I was like one, so I was mostly with my mom, and my dad came through whenever he could. So just the sounds alone, that before hip hop came to my life, I was already just up on a different kind of just tip in general, because I didn't know too many heads I didn't know too many Brazilians or Chilenos in general. You know what I'm saying? So just being just on a more unique race compared to what I was used to my surroundings, that already gave me like a just an interesting perspective. You know, I went to Brazil for the first time when I was 6 years old, and it was crazy because it all kind of hit me at once. I was into this cartoon called Rugrats, right? You remember? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Crisscross, the old, remember the OG hip hop group that had their big song, Crisscross will make you jump, jump.
Yeah.
Commercial for Rugrats, and that was like really my first time being introduced to this, to just the hip hop sound or what the hell rapping was,
Mm.
So at the same time, I'm getting into rock by my dad giving me like Queen's greatest hits and like Eagles and AC/DC and shit like that. So when I went to Brazil for the first time when I was 6, out of nowhere, man, I got so inspired by that Crisscross Rugrat cartoon that I just started freestyling and beatboxing out of nowhere. So I remember I would rap for my family in Brazil, and there was no instrumentals or music, and I would have like my family stomp their feet and clap their hands like Queens, we will rock you, like
Mm.
And I would just start freestyling, and my family was fascinated because they didn't know what the fuck I was saying. Oh, do you mind if I cuss? Is that right?
Yeah, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
They didn't know what the fuck I was saying, and B, they didn't even know I could rap. So it was just such a culture shock on so many levels that kind of hit me at once. That was like really my randomly 6 years old was my, I guess you could call it, evolutionary year where it all really just hit me. Like my introduction to so many musics, including the one I based my career on, as well as just getting introduced to my family, being on the other side of the world, and infusing it all together to now I'm able to reflect on all that and talk about my past experiences and really evolve my creative expression when it comes to my music input as well as output. So that's really where it all where it all kind of stems from. After I got back to the homeland, I was in Brazil for like 3 months. So when I got back, maybe less than a year later, my mom and my stepdad got together. My stepdad's from Argentina, so that's a whole other mix. A lot of exotic Latin cultures that I've only been accustomed to, and then my girl's Mexican as well. So we were staying on that strictly Latin too.
Mm-hmm.
So when my mom and my stepdad, I'm an only child. He had 4 biological daughters and 4 foster daughters. So I went from an only child to having 8 stepsisters, man, and it was no fucking heaven. But all of them were into different shit. I was the youngest, right? I was 7 years old, and they were all 13 and up. So from that, I got introduced to, I believe, the first CD I ever owned, first hip hop CD I owned was Warren G Regulators, G-Funk. And I just fell in love with that shit. I never heard something so melodic and smooth. I was just used to that Crisscross Rugrat song. So getting introduced to that Warren G Regulators, it just opened up my mind on a whole other thing. And then another stepsister was listening to Sublime, and I was listening to their second album, the Garden Grove album, technically, which infused, reggae, punk rock, ska, technically, is the politically correct term for the genre. And so from there, it just kept evolving. It just kept evolving. I was kept introduced to when we actually had CDs. This was 94, 95 to 96 we're talking about here, when CDs were still selling. And I was able to sit with this physical, tangible, object that had some crazy music on it that I never heard before. And it just kept adding to my arsenal of perspectives, sounds, and inspirations. And it just kind of really kept helping me mold me where I am today. Destruct came into the picture when I was like 12, when I really wanted to take this rap shit serious. 17 is when I started even doing shows, when I wasn't even old enough to do shows. And literally I would rock and then have to leave the club. And ever since 17 to now, man, being 31 now, it's like over a decade and some change. I've like dedicated my life to this craft, and it's just amazing to see everything that's happened, the legends I've been able to build with, all the projects I've been able to put out, and I still have the will and hunger to create even now more than ever. Whereas crazy as times are, we have no choice but to stay productive and stay positive. And shit, who knows what we can cook up while we're still, under lockdown.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
A quick little outline of just what really got me going into this whole hip hop culture and how I got introduced to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I started doing this new thing for I think the past. Well, actually, I only did it on one interview. Now that I think about it, I keep forgetting to write it down. It's something brand new, pretty much. But if you were stuck in an island for a whole year. Oh no, scratch that. If you were stuck in
Like where
lockdown,
this question's going. I like where
yeah.
this question's going already, and I
Uh
already
huh.
have your answer. But go ahead.
Alrighty, cool. So we got a whole year, and for some reason the government is just like fucking up the internet. You only have three artists to listen to, but that includes all the songs they're featured on and whatnot. Three artists or bands. Which ones do you choose for the rest of the year?
Now, are we going to CD specifically?
No, you can do CDs, but you can also do like just whatever you have saved on Spotify or whatnot. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure. Well, number one, the artist is already sitting right next to me. I don't know if you can see this right here. It would be, my bad, it's Bruce Lee. It would be right there, which is Sade's greatest hits. See the woman right there?
Okay.
Sade's greatest hits. I'm a huge, like I said, I got a very, very diverse history and background when it comes to my musical selections and everything that just gets my mind going. And Sade was something that I remember my mom used to listen to this radio station. Do you remember Coast 103.5?
Yeah, I used to work at a restaurant. That's all they would play. So it got to a point where every song was actually like timed at a certain time of the day. That's just so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely Sade's greatest hits. That would be like the first CD or artist I would pick. Then next to Sade would probably be, let me see if I can time this right, right there, which is Mos Def.
Mos Def.
Back on both sides.
Yeah.
One of my favorite MCs till today. There's no other MC that can sing just as dope as they can MC, and an MC as dope as they can sing. He's definitely one of my biggest motivations to when it comes to just expressing myself in different ways when it comes to hip-hop, to not just put myself in a box, and even like inspire me to harmonize and even attempt to try to sing or have my flows more melodic. So definitely Mos Def.
But also with that decision, you also got like Black Star along with that whole thing, and you got like the whole Yasin Bey like discography even along with that whole choice. That's a really smart one. I didn't think about that.
Exactly. I mean, just from his first two albums alone, from Black on Both Sides to New Danger, I was talking to my girl about it lately. Like, I love the fact that Mos is one of the few MCs that's such a risk taker. Because like his debut album was so straight back to basics hip hop, and then New Danger, his second album, was on some straight like rock, bluegrass, folky kind of feel with like hints of hip hop in it. So I don't know too many MCs that are that like much of a risk taker to go from straight spitting to some straight classic rock and jazz bluegrass styles. You know what I mean? So Mos is definitely, he's a different one of the bunch, man, for sure. He's definitely a different one. So Sade, Mos, and shit, man. Last but not least, fuck it, man. Since he's right behind me, I would go with some Tupac greatest hits. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. When I, my chick's a big Tupac fan, and I admitted that I told her at the time I was a bigger Biggie fan, but she reminded me of how much I grew up on Pac. And do you remember magazines, man, where you can order or buy like 5 CDs for like $1 or some shit? You remember that?
Yeah, I remember seeing those cutouts. Yeah, my dad used to get those back in the day.
Remember that shit? What was it? It was like 5 CDs for like $7 or something like that.
I mean, I don't remember prices because like I'm 26, so I think when that was really big and popping, I think I was like, watch TV so much, like I was like 5 years old or something. But I remember seeing like those deals where like, oh, like they're gonna, for such a cheap price, you get so many different CDs and the magazine. Like, oh wow, and
yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've always thought that was pretty cool. You know what I mean?
That shit was funny. I remember like I would get, it would be anything from Korn to freaking Tupac to DMX to Lit when Lit was still a band and shit. But yeah, definitely Tupac's greatest hits. That was a CD that I actually bought from that magazine deal, and that was a CD that, man, I played the fuck out front to back. Like, definitely, I mean, what is there to say about Pac that hasn't been said already? You know what I mean? Like, one of the greatest poets, period. And I think he's definitely one of my biggest inspirations when it comes to just work ethic and hustle. Like, he created knowing that he never knew when his time was up. That's why, what other artists you know that pretty much has a bigger catalog after they passed away than while they were still alive? You know what I mean? So, shit is nuts. But definitely, I would say Sade, Mos, and Pac would be definitely 3 artists I would have in heavy rotation if I was stuck on an island on some Castaway shit. Which, by the way, my beard already looks very Castaway-ish. With this bullshit lockdown, I'm going to have to invest in trimmers because all my barbers are fucking closed down. I'm going to have to find some way to tame this shit.
No, I feel you, man. Me, I can't do facial hair. I really can't. I try to grow it out sometimes. It just never works in my favor. So me keeping it this way.
Straight, bro.
Nah, It's definitely like a neck beard. It's not even like a full beard. It's like a
Bro,
wine. It's like a poser beard for sure.
but we need this though to add maturity to us because without these beards, we look like straight up chambelans, quinceañera ready and shit. You know?
Yeah, like absolutely, man. Like now I don't even get carded. It's like a good and bad thing for me. It saves me time.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I still get carded, but I take it as a blessing in disguise because I'm like, yo, thanks for making me feel young, man. I'm gonna be 32 this year, so I was like, thanks for still making me feel young, shit. You know?
Yeah, man. It's a blessing and a curse at times.
For real.
So before we get into your like personal like solo career as a rapper, I really want to dig into this whole inner city soul. Is that like a whole band like all together you included, or just like another band you're working with?
Yeah, man. It's crazy. I was 18 years old. This was like literally right around the time when I was still completing my first album, and you know, I was in a place where I didn't even have original beats, man. I didn't have any contact to it. I didn't know any producers yet. Like my homies that I came up with, we didn't get to connect yet. So I was literally rocking over instrumentals that I found that I would try my best to just make them my own. I would take some classic, like whether it was Gangstar or Alchemist instrumentals, maybe some that people weren't too familiar with, and just try to make something of my own. And so I'll put them on my MySpace, and did whatever I had to do to network and build. And a band actually reached out to me, man. And they were like, we need a new front man. Our front man is standing down. And I guess he's moving into starting his own indie label and more behind the scenes kind of, mission. So when the band hit me up, it was a straight full ensemble. I'm talking 2 horn players, a trumpet player, bass, guitar, drums, keyboard, and myself as the vocalist. So they presented me with this real interesting sound, which was like, I want to say a fusion of like hip hop, salsa, cumbia, with like a little bit of alternative. It was interesting, something that I didn't even expect. And mind you, I'm still developing and finding my own sound as well. I didn't even have like I said, too many original tracks yet. It was just my verses on instrumentals. But the fact that they liked what I presented over these instrumentals, they liked it enough for me to try to see if I can adapt to them was pretty interesting. So instead of me rapping over instrumentals, a lot of the verses and songs I had, I kind of adjusted it and put it over the band's music, And from there, we just kind of kept building. They would take songs from my first album, Rebel Minded, and give it a whole live approach because there were elements in those songs. Oh, there's a horn in this. Oh, my horn player could recreate this. And so they actually took those songs that I had originally and put them in the band. That's why on Rebel Minded and the first Inner City Soul, there's a song called Write Some More that's on both albums. One is like the album version, and one is live band version. So anyways, building with this band, it's like VH1 behind the music, man. So much crazy shit has happened. They don't call it sex, drugs, and rock and roll for no reason. I saw so many band members split due to bullshit, due to drugs, due to drama, due to illegal activities, crime, you name it, But with the first 10 years I built with them, there wasn't a stage we didn't touch. The thing I love about bands, man, is that there really is no limitation when it comes to live shows. Like the market is so much more It's way more expansive of a market for live bands than for hip hop artists. Which nowadays, in an underground circuit, it's more of like a niche market. Compared to live bands, we can do anything, any festival, any block party. You know what I mean? It isn't just rocking at where you would see typical hip hop shows. You know what I mean? It's just more diverse. It just had more diverse opportunities. So you name it, we were there, man. Whether if it was the Whiskey, whether if it was, the OC block party, whether if it was the House of Blues in the LA or the OC, we were killing it and making a name for ourselves. And we were able to make an album. But as the album was getting completed, that's when all the shit hit the fan. Like a lot of band members left, didn't really believe in the project anymore. Our album was actually unfortunately held hostage by one of the ex-band members. And we just had to fight to get it out. We couldn't get it mixed and mastered right. Once we got it, I had to get one of my engineers to actually add more bass to it and try to salvage as much as we can. So that's the biggest difference you'll hear from our first Inner City Soul album that came out in 2014 compared to our new record called The Standard. In 2014, we're right at the end of when it was a six band. It was six members in the band. You know what I mean? It was like I said, guitar, bass, keys, two sax, drums, and myself. Compared to now on this last record that we just put out, it was just me, my sax player, and my drummer, just us three. But even with just us three, we were able to make the album that we always wanted to make, something that hit hard, that truly spoke from the heart, that it wasn't one-dimensional, one-sided, and it wasn't just up to one person for the ultimate, outcome. So that's the biggest thing that you hear from then till now is that I was actually able to really compose with the band, make some sounds from scratch, learn how to engineer a band, and really make it bang the way we wanted it to make it bang. Like, yes, this is a rock album. Yes, this is an alternative album. Yes, this has reggae influences, but no matter what, this is also a hip hop album. And just like any Roots album you would hear, we got to make sure the drums bang, we got to make sure the bass hits, and we got to make sure the MC is clear. And you listen to any Roots album, Black Thought and Questlove have those checked across the list, across the board on every project. So that's where we are now. And even with that being said, unfortunately, due to life and its circumstances, I don't know if we're able to make another album after this. You know, my other band members have other priorities, family, other legal matters to attend to, that the future really is up in the air. It was just a blessing that these past 5 years, we put our pain, blood, sweat, tears, and everything in between into the standard album that we put out. That's why it's called The Standard, because this is the standard of music that we always wanted to make. And I feel like it's like a reintroduction, but at the same time a conclusion to this inner city soul saga that I was blessed to be a part of, which I'm just a kid from LA, and I never knew I was going to make it in this rap shit, and let alone have a band to begin with. So it definitely was a blessing just to have this a part of my journey. You know what I mean? Have this album be a part of my catalog.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, man. That standard album, it really came out really well. It reminded me a lot of like Mayday to even like Gorillaz, that's what it reminds me of, man. And I dig it a lot, dude. It's definitely like my favorite one.
Right there.
Yeah, that's the best album right there. You know, and
I'm gonna keep pointing at the examples as we say them.
yeah, I mean, personally to me, it was a really good combination of everything going on. And that's the best part about it too, where you're able to share all these different types of influences in music. Influences in music to combine, and now we put it out into the hip hop world, and let alone this alternative route and all these other things going on. So that's why I really like that album a lot.
Thank you, man. It really means a lot. You don't understand what I had to go through to make that album a reality. So like, it really just means worlds to me that you give it the time of day. Like, in this day and age, man, like I said, I come from the CD era, pre-MySpace era, where tangible things people actually valued, you know, like CDs were actually being sold. And now in the streaming age, like, even if you don't fuck with me, and even if they listen to it once, I can't thank you enough, because that one stream alone can just add up to me actually getting closer, eating off my music, living off what I love doing, and you know what I'm saying, like continuing this sound and inner city soul brand to evolve. So yeah. I appreciate everyone giving it the time of day, man, because an album alone is very hard to make. A good album, you know, a lot of people get mixtapes and albums very confused. You know, with me, when it comes to this whole process of making an album, I always looked at it as making it an experience, not just another collection of songs. You know what I mean? Like, when I listen to Black on Both Sides, when I listen to Illmatic, when I listen to, you know what I'm saying, All Eyes on Me or Ready to Die, you listen to the album front to back and it's an experience. It's a story being told. You know what I mean? It's a vibe. It's energy. It's not just random songs thrown together. You know what I mean? And I preach the same to whoever I executive produce or build with. So with this Inner City album, I really felt like it just told so much in the 5 years that we spent on this, that, you know, it's a journey just doing it on your own. Imagine with a band with different elements, with live instrumentation. It's not just you and a producer. It's not just samples. It's making everything from scratch, bro. I'm high as hell in the studio in East LA, you know, humming some random shit, and then my drummer, who also plays bass guitar, can emulate exactly what I was humming. You know what I mean, bro? Like, I'm not classically musically trained. Literally, most of what you hear on the album is me randomly spewing out ideas and sounds, and we transform those random sounds into music that made sense. and kept building from there. So it's a hell of a process, man. If anyone wants to join a band nowadays, especially with what we're going on now, much luck to you. But trust me, it is tough, and it's something that, I mean, if anyone's up for the challenge, I would say best of luck. But it's not easy. It's not easy, man, for sure.
Yeah, because I sent it to my two friends that I'm doing this whole podcast with. Because this is like my solo project right here with the Odd Conversation.
Yeah.
But we also have like this other thing called the High Minds podcast, and I showed the same album to these two, and the one thing that they really loved the most was the live instrumentation, and so that's one thing that we that they pointed out, which made me forget. This is why I really resonated with it a lot more, and so I really love the album. I'm definitely gonna be listening to it a lot more.
I appreciate it, man. I think to me it's bigger than hip hop. It goes to show, like I said once again, how diverse my upbringing has always been when it came to music, and I think it's something that you're not really hearing now in this day and age. Hip hop aside, I don't think you're not really hearing this kind of live instrumentation, let alone from East LA, which where my band originated from, where I was born from. So that's one thing that I really took a lot of pride in, bro, is like, if we're going to do this from scratch, we got to make sure it sounds right. We got to make sure it's on beat. Shout out to my brother, AQ, who's an amazing engineer, who's engineered most of my albums, and he's worked with Blue, Exile, just to name a few. God, this was a challenge for him as well. He only maybe mixed and mastered a handful of live songs. This is the first full-on live album that he engineered, which I'll be honest, man, the engineering took maybe almost a year to master. Because imagine, recording just vocals could be anywhere from maybe 10 to 20 tracks tops. Drums tracking, just recording drums, is 10 to 20 tracks by itself. You know what I mean? So you can only imagine how big and expansive just one track alone is. It's like 10 tracks for drums, 3 tracks for bass, and so on and so on. So just to understand all that and to have that mixed and mastered in a nicely, knit package, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of patience and hard work, man. So I appreciate you noticing that detail. Like, I want people to hear this and be like, yo, I can play this for my dad, and he doesn't even like hip-hop. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to put a stop or a box or any kind of pigeonhole in who this album could appeal to. Like, if you're just a fan of some good quality independent music, whether you like hip-hop or rock or none of them at all, maybe this hybrid can make sense for you. Because I definitely look at it like a hybrid project for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to kind of like transition from that personal favorite to the Chronic Blues Volume 2. Like it may seem like we're going a little like off track real quick, but to me it kind of correlates with it because it definitely that's my personal favorite from your projects, all the ones that I've seen. And that came out in 2017, right?
That was 2018 when it came out. It was like it was 4/20 of April 2018. And it all correlates perfectly, bro. That album as well, completely made from scratch. Shout out to my brother Highfly, who's an amazing producer, which I'm not sure if he's still doing music at the moment. I think he's just focused on other priorities in business, and much love and support to him. But he's another genius. And that whole album, Chronic Blues Volume 2, was completely made from scratch. So, of course, there is some live instrumentation. There is some live flutes, and I believe a little bit of live bass and guitar, but the majority of it is my brother Highfly's amazing mind just making something completely from scratch. But you can hear just the aesthetic and vibe alone. It's a whole different vibe. As well as who engineered it. Shout out to Fingers, who's a legendary West Coast singer and engineer, producer. He also was like one of the the innovators of the talk box, like that Sap and Roger, like crazy, where you can manipulate your voice as he's playing it. So we also had a very, established and experienced engineer on that album. So there's a reason why Chronic Blues Volume 2 definitely has more of a sleek and cleaner sound compared to the more, I would say, raw and vintage feel that Inner City Soul, the standard album, does, But both albums are, like I said, completely original, both made from scratch, both made in different, different times of my life, you know what I mean? And I believe the Volume 2 was like midway of me even getting into this Inner City Soul album. So usually when I attack a project, I like to have one thing at a time, you know what I mean? So I can really focus on it, so I'm not scattered, and the project can just be more focused, and that just brings out the best of me in that moment in time. But with the inner city soul situation, like I said, so many things and like elements and people are involved in it that when I wasn't able to work on that, then I was able to do Chronic Blues Volume 2. You know what I mean? And so, and now ironically, my next solo that I was planning to put out now, I had to put it on hold so this Inner City Soul album could happen. So it's just crazy how kind of history kind of repeats itself on and off and vice versa. It's tricky, but I appreciate the fact that you fuck with Chronic Blues Volume 2. Like both albums I hold very dear to my heart and definitely represent different points in my life and where my head was at, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, what was the transition like from Chronic Blues to Deadly Kid?
Well, Chronic Blues 2 was, like I said, a straight project I did with my brother High Fly. We did the original Chronic Blues back in 2013. He was a friend of mine that I would meet in the in the scene, and then I started getting more involved with the people in the Whittier side of town, in the Dub City area. And I met him through there, and he wanted to work with me for quite some time. And the funny thing is, I always bust his balls about this. He would send me beats for like 3 or 4 years, and it just wasn't clicking with me until one of the beats from the first Chronic Blues called Once Again, I really fell in love with. It really moved me, and from that beat alone, I was like, all right, man, well, you finally got me with one. Let's see what else you got. So after we built the first Chronic Blues, we spent about 4 years on making Volume 2, and it was like any other project I did. Usually I like working with one producer. I think to me it just makes the sound more consistent. It just makes everything more balanced, especially when you work with producers that are very well-rounded. High Fly is a very well-rounded producer that could do the grimiest of the most soulful beats, you know what I mean? And I would say definitely Chronic Blues 2 had more of a smoother and soulful approach, you know what I mean? And just that time in my life, a lot of crazy things happened, and I think I was in a more, I wouldn't say gloomy mind state, but definitely things were bringing me down more than up. And luckily for music, there is no better medicine or remedy for myself than music. So I was able to constructively overcome whatever hardship and emotional and physical issues I was going through. You know what I mean? And I remember 1 month. This was 2015, so like in the middle of creating Volume 2, in 1 month, I remember I had a bad breakup. I was in a really bad car accident. My job was like up in the air, as I didn't know if my current day job was gonna, be in business. And then I also got hit with pneumonia, which was crazy. And so and this was all like in a 2-week span. And it kept hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. And there was a beat that High Fly sent me, and the only thing that the vocal sample that I guess he sang or his friend sang, it said, "At least we have the stars." And when I heard that, it made me realize, like, damn, like, a lot of people don't even get to see the stars, whether if they're blind, ill, or too much pollution. It just made me realize, like, I'm blessed to be here another day. As bad as life can be, like, at least we have these stars, man. And that kind of influenced that whole mind state for that song called Time Will Tell. Mm-hmm. So it's just crazy, out of our darkest moments, we get our brightest ideas. And that kind of really was the whole perspective for Chronic Blues Volume 2. A lot of life changes and things happened to me at a rapid pace. That's why it influenced more of it is more soulful and it is more smoother sound, but I was in a more, vulnerable state of mind during that album process. Now, compare that to Deadly Kid. Deadly Kid, I would say, is like my only real mixtape. It's like a project that spans 10 years of work from when I was like 19 to, I want to say, maybe 24, 25, maybe 26. And it just was just random moments in my life, whether if it was songs that were going to be singles for other projects. It was just a whole bunch of random songs that I had that I was creating in my studio that just felt right under a project. And I never did a mixtape before. That's why it has like 25, 26 songs. Like, I usually don't have albums so stacked, but I remember when I would listen to mixtapes, they would have a lot of songs. I remember, like, whether if it was Wiz Khalifa or Currency or whoever, they would have a whole bunch of songs that, that was that mixtape feel to have. That's why it was called the mixtape. It was just so many random songs put together. So definitely Deadly Kid is more sporadic. I still try my best to make it an experience, but it doesn't have a vibe or a concept and a feel like Chronic Blues Volume 2 has. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest difference. Is one has a sound, one producer, a direction, and a vibe. The other one's just like a time capsule of different moments in my life and different vibes. And you could definitely hear from my voice to just my delivery and lyrics how much I've developed within that 10-year frame, which is captured on that Deadly Kid project.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm like really excited about this interview. Like I keep on forgetting I'm running the show, so it's like, oh shit. I keep on forgetting, because like I'm just too in tune with this conversation. You don't really hear this kind of insight so much. So I feel honored for this kind of information being spilled.
Thank you, man. I mean, I haven't been interviewed in a while, bro. So I feel like I'm a little rusty. My bad if I'm going on rants and shit.
Oh no. This is your interview. That's one thing you got to remember, man. This is your interview right here. So you spill as much as you want.
Thank you, man. I just feel like a lot of people, especially artists, they're so like surface level when it comes to responses. And I just really want to like give people a little time, a little piece, one time for the mind, a little give a piece of my mind to just see how I put my shit together, a little bit of my method to the madness, and why I'm able to create at such a fast pace. And it's not for the sake of creating, it's because this is what I love doing, and this is what maintains my sanity. You know what I mean? Like music, of course, there's nothing more than to live off what you love doing, but if what you love doing can also save you as well, and like actually help you appreciate life and deal with shit, then I mean it's a win-win situation. You know what I mean? So yeah. I appreciate the time, bro, and just letting me kind of just like breathe a little and let people remind people like, hey, there's a reason why I call myself the best you never heard, because talk is cheap, and I'd rather let my music speak for itself.
Absolutely. And I don't know. Usually when people tell me to check out an artist, or I come across like a certain artist trying to make a name for themselves, it can be difficult to try to really give it a real listen at times, because you're kind of in tune with other stuff at the time being, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like there's times where like some of my favorite artists right now I didn't like at first because I was in tune with another person, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why when I sat down and started listening to all these, like in-depth, projects. Sorry, I burped a little bit. Yeah, I just like, dude, like, I kind of regret not even like getting on this years ago. Like, I liked your raps, but I was like, all right, but I never really focused on project material. And then as of the past like few days, I've been sitting with it, and then I love those 3 projects I named out. So salute to you for that, man.
Thanks, man. I mean, I hope in due time, maybe it's a lot. Trust. I know. Like I said, my output is pretty nuts. It's crazy for me to even say this, but like the Inner City Soul album is like my 30th project, and I'm still like uploading older projects from my catalog to all the digital stores and whatnot. So I just hope that later down the line there'll be another project that will fit your mood. Like I just wanted every album to represent a different mood, a different state of mind, and chronologically just showing wherever I was in that moment in time. And I hope that feed off to someone else and they can be inspired in whatever moment in time they're feeling. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that you took the time to hear those and they were able to resonate with you. And you can hear, obviously, the difference of the projects, the flow, me always, to my state of mind, man, I never wanted to be a broken record and make the same shit over and over. That's why there is this Inner City Soul album. That's why I'm able to tap into different, genres and styles, because that's what I grew up on. I never wanted to be a one-trick pony. I definitely wanted to be a chameleon with styles and challenge myself as much as the listener. So I appreciate you hearing those 3 projects that are definitely on 3 different levels, 3 different vibes, and chronologically, like I said, they represent different moments in my life. So I definitely appreciate you just giving it the time of day.
No, absolutely, man. So I'm gonna transition. I'm gonna move this conversation towards I think just like what the battle rap. It was like a battle rap event that you were judging, and what's it called? Then you're about to smack some dude up. Some.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like you weren't like there weren't nobody holding you back or nothing, but like I just know if I was in your position when this happened, I would have been like smacking dudes up. But like you just happened to judge a battle. Didn't go one battle rapper's way, and he wanted to make a little, spaz attack about it, and started talking shit, and you handled that very well.
Was it at I believe, was it like a Sailor hip hop event? I believe?
That's what it was. See, I can't remember the name at the time.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I used to be very battle rap heavy, man. When I was coming up, bro, on the scene, like I was hungry, man. Like I didn't know any better. I did the whole ticket hustle shit. I networked. Like I said, even when I wasn't old enough to do shows, I was just ready and hungry to just get my name out there and be heard. I know that's what you had to do. So you had to fight for the mic, bum rush the stage, do whatever it was to network and get your name out there. So There was a night I remember, man, when I battle rapped and I won against OG, like Dumbfounded, Satire, Lyra Flip, and there was like people like Prince Poe and Joel Ortiz from Slaughterhouse who were the judges. So I had some really amazing moments when it come to battle rap, but I also had some very off-putting moments that kind of left a really bad taste in my mouth that kind of made me indefinitely just stop doing battle rap. You know, like it came to a point where I was giving my all, and I knew I would defeat my opponent. The crowd knew I defeated my opponent, but due to bullshit in politics, there was one judge that wasn't cool with me for whatever reason, and I got robbed. And it came to a point, bro, where it kept happening over and over. That I'm like, why am I wasting time on something that I feel like it's just hurting my rep, overall, and it isn't fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't feel like the outcome of it was fair, and it just kind of threw off my whole perspective on wanting to be a battle rapper, right? So as time passed, I just focused more on my music, and what I really wanted to do anyways was just, keep expanding as an artist, and now, executive producer, radio host, just to name a few and shit, not to boast. So when I got introduced to different hip-hop communities, they, I guess, remembered my battling days and would always ask me if I would be down to judge and even, break me off with some bread for my time. And I'm like, shit, why not? I'm a huge battle rap fan till this day. There isn't a URL, KOTD, or even old grind time shit that I haven't seen. Like, I even listen to freaking battle podcasts, during work. So I'm still a battle rap fan, even though I may not be a participant. So with that being said, I have a lot of respect for that part of the culture. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bullshit you. I think reason why people hit me up to judge battles is because I'm an honest judge. I'm not biased. I'm not going to, just because you're my boy or whatever, like, I'm going to give it to you however you give it back to me. You know what I'm saying? So I think the event you're talking about is the Battle MC, unfortunately, just wasn't doing too good. You know what I mean? He just, maybe he was a little drunk, or maybe, I don't know, who knows? He was definitely intoxicated off something. I don't know what substance. And for some reason, I guess he felt like he had to prove a point to me. Like, I don't even know the guy personally. And I remember he kept, like, referring or pointing to me while he was spitting his verses, and even saying something like, I don't have to prove anything to you. And I'm like, okay, but I am judging you, but whatever. So it came to a point where I remember him getting in my face, and I grabbed the mic, and the first thing I say is, hey, bro, do you need a hug or something? And it was just pretty funny. I remember
yeah.
He eventually apologized, but I just think it's funny when guys, the thing is in battle rap, man, is you got to learn to have thick skin. Whether if it's the judge you don't like, or if someone talks about your mom or your kids, like, man, it's a battle rap. It's no holds bar. You know what I mean? Same way, how Pusha T came back at Drake, he had every right to, because, Drake brought up his baby mama, you know what I'm saying, said some personal shit that, it's no holds bar. Once you take it to that level, anything can happen in battle rap. There is no rules that you got to follow. I will admit, though, last time I was in Brazil and I was doing some shows out there, they had some battle stuff, and they said that one of their main rules is you cannot talk about moms. But then again, we're talking about the murder capital of the world. We're in the favelas, in the ghettos in Brazil. So best believe, there's going to be some gangsters and some troublesome people in the crowd that, yeah, you talk about my mom the wrong way, they don't give a fuck if it's a battle or not. Shit's going to crack and get like some City of God type shit,
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, either way, regardless, I have nothing but love and respect for this shit. Even if I'm judging and an artist feels some type of way, at this point in my life, man, I know it comes with the territory. I've learned being in this music scene and being a fan for over a decade that even if you're the most positive person, somehow, some way, someone could look at you in a negative light. You could be like the most God-believing person, but a million people could still look at you like some devil worshippers. So what I'm saying is, no matter how positive and real I could be, I'm always going to have that hate. I'm always going to have doubters and non-believers towards me, whether I'm judging them or not. They're going to be the first to judge me and go against me. So that's something that I got to take with a grain of salt and be like, you know what, man, I'm really kind of immune to this. So that's why I wasn't fazed at all when that battle rapper got in my face, and I was like, hey, bro, you need a hug or something? Because I don't take it that serious, even though I'm very serious about what I do. I know what comes with the territory of being an artist, especially in the underground LA scene, and how cutthroat, how fickle, how petty, and how snaky shit could be. You got to be stronger and not be willing to stoop down to other people's levels. You got to rise above it, hold your ground, stay focused, and just brush that bullshit off. And, you can't let none of that get to you. You know what I mean? If anyone tries to hate on me online, bro, I'm not really quick to even respond to it. I'll be honest, half the time I'll either delete it, block it, and move on with my life because I'm here to uplift my people. And if you wish me the opposite, that's cool. But you don't got to worry about what I'm doing because I'm definitely not worried about what you're doing. And instead of wasting my time putting negativity out there, I'd rather put my positivity out there. I'd rather put my progression out there. And I'm not trying to preach. I can only just speak from my behalf, my perspective. And if you ain't fucking with what I got to do, then don't worry about it. Let's just keep it moving. That's it. I'm not going to go out of my way to stoop to your level. And I definitely didn't stoop to that guy's level. I just made a joke and gave my honest opinion. And he lost the battle anyway. So all that fuss for nothing.
Yeah, man. Because I did watch a couple other battles on that whole, like the whole channel. And, I think I'm just so used to just URL type stuff. And it's like, it's just not, it just doesn't sit well, for me to, like, really come back to. But, I mean, maybe eventually within time, like, I will draw attention to it. I mean, just as of right now, it's just not for me.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. And you're right. Like, when it comes to smack stuff, like, I love it. As gun talk heavy as it is, I'm the type of person, man, that when it comes to, I'm a huge movie buff. Besides music, I can appreciate the art for what it is. Whether I appreciate whether if I agree with the message or not, I can appreciate it for what it is. So even though I'm no gun-toting gangster, I can appreciate the performance and skill level it took for that person to create that whole scheme and performance, because it is definitely a performance, and any performance you can consider as an art form. Whether you agree with it or not, it is what it is. So yeah. I can respect any artist on whatever platform trying to express themselves and the level it took, the time and effort it took to even make that shit happen. Whether I fuck with it or not, I can appreciate it and respect it for what it is.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people don't look like that. A lot of people are very black and white. I'm always one to look a little more beneath the surface because life is a little more complex than that,
Absolutely, man. That's why, like me, I'm a big battle rap fanatic. So that's why, like, when you said, when you're even like touching base on that stuff, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, just same language talk right here. I'm with it.
Right. Who would you say is like your like some of your top like battlers now that you're really into?
Oh man. Shit. Like it's like I know the answers. I just don't know like when to like who to place who first because I don't want to make it seem like, it's like a little scale. But me,
Yeah.
I'm a big Rum Nitty fan, big Chef Trez, And then you also even got like Bankhead, which is like on the come up right now. You also got fuck man, well of course Geechee Gotti and like I remember seeing him like before, and like he was even like getting like thousands of views.
Every fucking
bar.
bar. Geechee's a beast, man. I would say right now, man, like.
Oh, Daylight, fucking Daylight. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, Daylight's crazy fucking lyricist.
Remember him battling Absol on Absol's album? There's like a hidden track. Yeah, that was interesting. Too bad the footage never came out for some reason, right? That was
I think it's better that way though, because if you think about it, because I'm also a big Absol fan. Like he's definitely my top 5 of all time. But like he's it's like he's legally blind, so he only focuses on the words and the imagery. And Daylight does that on his own, and he didn't have to use no antic to gain the views. This is like a straight like lyrical war right here, and that's why I love it that way. And I really believe that, and that's like over 1 million views already.
For sure, that's dope when Daylight actually focuses in and doesn't let his antics obviously speak for himself.
Yeah.
I would say right now, man, I'm a huge Pat Stay fan. Pat to me is like the full package when it comes to like any arsenal a battle rapper could bring to the table. Like I just love how diverse Pat
like he
is.
he could like fuck, like he could like pretty much take the power away from like any crazy bar you have if he plays his cards right.
Dude, what he told Suge, like, man, I you're getting beat by a dude who's wearing a flower suit. You couldn't even come up with something for that, so it was genius. And then the fact that Suge even rebutted with that was genius. But Pat is definitely up there for me. I love Pat. I love Charlie Clips when he's focused, and of course Hollow is like one of the illest ever. So like I said, you gotta appreciate and respect the level of artistry that these battlers have took. Like first, the level that they took the craft, the level that they handled the craft, and the level that they create the shit. You know what I mean? So they're definitely like tastemakers when it comes to just the evolution of battle rap and where it could go. So, have you seen Bodied by chance?
I did. I cringed like half the movie though. I just wasn't for me,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, Kid Twist wrote it. Nothing against Kid Twist, but I can feel it. I can feel
It's
his
very
pen.
Canadian.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was still cool. It was still cool to see like all the battlers, get some screen time by a world renowned director. So regardless of however the movie did, it was dope that battle rap got that exposure and that level of attention to actually get a dope film made, but made from it. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. Of course, 8 Mile kind of reinvigorated battle rap. Period. I mean, people can say opposite, but let's be honest. The same way Fast and the Furious inspired a lot more street racers is the same way 8 Mile inspired a lot more battle rap.
Absolutely. That's why, like, I remember after that because one of my friends, my friend Mikey, he's the one that helps him with the podcast and such.
Yeah,
He put me on to like battle rap, and he showed me Dumbfounded versus Pumpkinhead, and that was the very first time. And I think that was the grind time, I believe.
yeah.
And yeah, then I'll be tuning in and out, but it wasn't until maybe like the past couple of years where I'm like really keeping up with it, and it's crazy how like artsy these dudes are, like it's pretty much like a poem, fucking dissing another person, but this is like really thought out and really like structured very well.
Like, did you see the Ilmac versus Big K?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Dude, Ilmac's last verse was on some straight like third person crazy poetic shit, man. That was
Hmm.
like some next level shit right there.
Even
So
with
I tell you,
rebuttals and shit too.
absolutely, it's an amazing art form. I mean, I think the battles that really got me going, I think from back then was probably like I would say like the Dumbfounded and Tantrum was like one of the first battles I saw that really got me into that. Have you seen that one?
That's like Asian versus Asian, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just record, I drive better, my dick's bigger.
Yeah. Now I remember that battle.
That,
Yeah. Now I remember it after that bar.
yeah, man. So yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope that you're up on game with that. There's not too many heads I can converse about this battle rap shit that really have that like love and appreciation for it, and know like and these guys are still artists at the end of the day. You can say what you want to say about it, they're still artists, even if they have no music recorded, and some of them do, most of them don't. Still, the impact that they made with their words, even if it's a lot of it's shit talking and mom jokes, they definitely still express their artistry on a high level for sure.
Well, fucking Geechee was actually a really good recording artist. Like, there's songs that he has out that, it's very like new age West Coast like style, but like he just knows how to place the words right and like deliver them.
Oh yeah,
Like it's not even like it isn't like the most lyrical shit, but it's just like you don't really need that if you're making a great song. So
right. I believe it, man. Whether
Mhm.
it's Geechee, Ilmac, shit, Loaded Lux. I mean, dude, Loaded Lux. Get this
Lux.
fire. Have you heard that mixtape hosted by Shaq? That's a fire ass.
Oh
Mixtape.
shit, no, I didn't even take that out. No.
Yeah, I believe it's on Dat Piv. You say you gonna get this work, and it's fire, man. It's definitely breaks the whole stigma of battle MCs not being able to make good music. Like Eminem is not the only battle rapper that can make good music. So for sure, the torch is still being carried on
Yeah,
properly.
absolutely. Even like Passwords from the Bay Area, same shit. Like
Yeah, Animal Farm, right?
Planet, Animal Planet.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. See, what's up? This is shit that, like I'm telling you, only me and you would know, dude. For
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Like I'm pretty sure right now people are gonna be like kind of confused, or they're gonna be like, all right, I want to look into it. But
Oh, for sure.
absolutely.
And they're not even paying. But shout out KOTD Slack.
Yeah, exactly, man. Even RBE on the come up.
RB or Queen of the Ring, or was it?
Oh, Queen of the Ring, yeah, and
Another one,
Don't Flop.
Don't
Fucking-
Flop, Flip Top, Gorilla. Was it Gorilla?
Oh,
Keys
Guerrilla
or
Warzone. I think that's what it
Gorilla
was.
Warzone?
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Right.
Yeah, but hey, shout out to hip hop too, man. Just time to grow still.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I have two more questions before we head out of here, man. If you don't feel comfortable talking about it, I understand. But can we, touch on the silver and gold topic?
Oh, yeah, in what sense?
Yeah, so I think Faraz kind of mentioned that you guys are dating, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how this hip hop shit works, man. I met Sylvan Gold on the music scene, and I was just a fan of what she was doing, and I really believed in her craft, and I even offered to executive produce her debut album, and yeah, it's just crazy how life can take you, man. And I even told myself I would never date like musicians again, just because I felt like you're going to work and home to the same place. I feel like sometimes you need that sense of space and separation. Like it's tough being with someone like, because I've been with artists before, and I never wanted the sense of competition or any kind of like vibe where you can get when you're dating someone that does what you do, you know?
Yeah.
But when both everything came natural, man. The same way we crafted our album, I think was the same way we crafted our friendship. We were friends for a long time before, you know, we took things to another level, and everything just happened organically. You know, she's one of the realest MCs and people in general that I know, that I'm definitely like just blessed to have in my corner. And you know, we are almost done with our new record. Shit is gonna be stupid fire. Like, she's got OGs like One Below on there, just to name a few. And I'm just really excited to see her evolution, and to see like where she's gonna take this shit. Like, we're actually supposed to be in Florida, man. We're supposed to be in 2 festivals back to back. One in Florida and one in Ontario called Thought Fest.
Thought Fest. Yeah.
Marciano. So we've both been on the grind, and it's just great to have someone in my corner that, you know, believes in me and believes in me as much as I believe in them, and takes the craft just as serious. And she's definitely trouble. Like, that Gabby Guerrero LP is just like scratching the surface of what she's bringing to the table. And yeah, man. So
yeah,
definitely it was pretty cool how everything just kind of unfolded.
Yeah, I mean, you guys seem to be a great duo. I remember seeing you guys' pictures all over the place, like on Instagram. But I don't exactly remember what kind of posts it were, but I do remember you guys were always like around each other, and then same thing with the Faraz. And I was like, dang, okay, like I remember seeing Destruct years ago, and then when I started seeing you pop up on my live feed, I was like, oh shit, okay, let me check this, let me look into this dude again, and then I started seeing all the stuff you started doing, so I was like, all right, and then gave the follow obviously. But yeah, man, I was really excited to see you at the Thought Fest. I bought my ticket, but I did get refunded. But yeah, man, like I was really just gonna try to get there early as possible to catch your set, because I didn't know what time you were gonna get on or anything. Cause
yeah, we didn't know either, man. Nothing was established. Like, it was all, you know, it was all happening, you know, saying beautifully, and then this shit happened. They said it's gonna be postponed till October. I mean, we'll see, man. We really don't know where, you know, tomorrow's gonna take us, man. So we're just hoping for the best and hope that it still happens. But definitely, me and Silver are gonna be ready to fuck shit up and hit people with a memorable performance, man. We both got a lot of like cool things in the works, and we'll see what happens, man. At this point, all we can do is keep cooking up that shit, and when we're ready to unleash it and you know, keep it rocking, we're gonna be ready, like without a doubt, you know.
For sure, man. So, do you have like my final question before we close out, man? Is there any not questions, any last minute words or like advice for anybody on the come up, or just people in life in general?
For sure, man. I appreciate that. You know, what I tell all my peoples and clients, you know, anyone I build with on a regular basis, music aside, like anything they really want to, you know, focus on in life, you know, it's all about conviction. You know, I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it because this is just what I believe every day. It's all about conviction. You can't convince yourself. How the fuck do you expect to convince anyone else? You know what I mean? That's why at the end of the day, I don't make my music, you know, just for who's going to hate on it, who's going to love it. I do it because I need to, because it's an expression of how I'm feeling. It helps me get through my day-to-day. It's my ultimate medicine. And if someone can actually vibe to it, react to it, relate to it, or whatever, then it lets me know I'm doing my job right. Like, just you giving me the time of day, bro, like, I make music for people like you. You know what I'm saying? And that's all because I'm convinced enough to do it, to put my words to a beat, to get up on a fucking mic, to set up this studio, to put the pen to paper. When there's a will, there's always that fucking way, not to sound cliche, but it's all because of conviction. That's the best advice I can give to any aspiring artist, just anyone that has any dream, any mission in life in general. Just as long as you can convince yourself, that's all that matters, man. Fuck the world. That can follow later, whether they want to follow you or not. As long as you're convinced, that's all that truly matters. Other than that, definitely everyone peep the Inner City Soul album, The Standard. We put our everything into it. We put our souls into that album. Definitely peep it. It's called The Standard for a reason, because that's the type of standard of music we want to do. And it's for something real special. We're going to be dropping our second video very soon for that project. I think like in the next 2 days. So definitely look out for that. And any other details or information, destructmusic.com, one-stop shop. Fuck with your boy and see why I'm the best you never heard. Simple as that.
Absolutely. And what was your latest release, like solo work-wise?
Latest solo was an EP I dropped at the end of 2018 called Love Songs for Winter, which was like a live 5 little track EP of, you know, represented different moods, in relationships and just love in general, and they came out in the wintertime, so obviously the title is self-explanatory. My next solo dream state, which I put on hold because of just everything that's going on and unfortunate circumstances that are happening with my band, that I was forced to kind of put this band album out first. So look out for my next solo dream state as well. I'm looking for summer. For summer is probably when it's going to happen. Shout out to Black Amish, who are amazing producers who has shit with Little Dicky, Ace That Mob, The Game, just to name a few. So it's definitely a more modern approach, but it's all about staying true to the foundation, but adapting with the times. So you'll definitely see what Dream State is all about. But yeah, for now, Inner City Soul is just the main focus and what I'm really putting all my cards and energy into right now.
For sure, man. Shit, man. Thank you so much for this, dude. I really appreciate it. Just like an intro, I don't have an outro either, but I do go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation with a very special guest.
Destruct. Shout out to Tony. Keep it odd, because normal's fucking boring anyways, right? Weirdos is the way to go. Normality overrated anyways, right?
No, seriously, man. Like I'm tired of people always saying how like, dude, this sounds so weird. Like I don't want to be around it. But it's like so weird, but is it really good though? Like deep down, it's just different, and some people need to kind of like separate the two from weird to different, and
Very true. That's the biggest difference. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But shit, man. Thank you so much for this, dude. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, bro. Appreciate the time, man. Stay safe, stay positive, and what I'm saying, to the next one, man.